morning, family. It's Tasha, MAMABEAR prepping. You already know what time it is. Get your drink, pull up. Let's talk about it. First of all, welcome to the channel. Welcome back to the channel. For those of you that have just found the channel, blessings to you. This video is going to be kind of a hard hitter, not your typical video, more of my thoughts. I'm definitely going to give you tips. How do you prepare for this? But it's not necessarily for my brand new preppers to hear, okay? It's more of a warning overall for figuring out your expectations when it comes to your government. Understanding when things get very, very hard, what to expect from your government. What will they do? Will they be reactive? Will they be proactive? What are they doing now? How does it affect you now? How will it affect you in the future? And just kind of walk you through that, okay? What you can expect as you move through this. And when I say move through this, this is not like the couple weeks. This is more of a, how do we move forward this in the decades to come as things, get to a boiling point. So things that I think that you should expect our governments to do as a whole. I think that you should expect that they're preparing, that they are all getting ready for something. Does that include you or not? That is to be seen. But I think that you can know and expect that countries, governments, they are getting ready. They have been getting ready for decades and decades as different things have happened in life, right? Whether that's natural disaster things that have happened, whether that's threats, whether that's foreign enemies, whatever, domestic enemies, no matter what it is, I think that you should know that our governments have been preparing. And with that, they've been procuring food and fuel and supplies and all the things that they would need to survive, okay? And to be in charge, right? Food, water, you name it. I think you should expect that they have been stockpiling that stuff, and they continue to do so in the present time frame, okay? I think that it's interesting. I won't go down this rabbit hole, but I just think that it's interesting that we as a whole, our government is so reactive when things happen, when we want things, they expect just like us to be able to pick up the phone and just get things readily available right away. And I think that there are people within the government that obviously know the writing on the wall. They are helping with all of this to happen, okay? There are things that you could teach your society, teach your civilians, teach people to be able to be self-sufficient and not have the worries that we're going to have here in the years to come, okay? Heavy, heavy famine. We could fix this, okay, if we wanted to. But I think you should expect that they are and will continue to procure food, water, supplies, fuels, all of that stuff, okay? I think that you should expect rationing of some sort at some degree when we get to that point, and control. So rationing and control, those come together. That person, those people that have the food, those are the people in power. You as a preparedness person will have a certain level of power, not an open power that, everybody's aware of, but you will have an internal power because you will have your own destiny, your own survival in your hands because you prepared your family. You kept food aside. You guys are not starving and you're not having to depend on rationing and a government to give you what you need and then tell you what they want you to do in order to get that food. Let me just give an example. The last 2 years, what we went through with the whole back and forth of you must do this, you must not do this, everybody needs to get this. Imagine if food was on the table and it becomes, hey, if you don't do this, you're not eating, you're not getting food. And we had a little bit of that dialogue, right? A little bit of those threats of you can't go into stores, you can't go into restaurants. But I'm talking about like we are to a rationing point, and the government is not going to give you your ration unless you do specifically what they want to do. So again, food is going to run policy, okay? Policies will be written and food will be used and dangled in front of people like you will not eat if you do not do this. And that's where rationing and control, what I'm talking about. Okay, I think that they will continue to feed their military for as long as they can. I think that a military is obviously because it is a military force that can be used for all different things, and that becomes a something that they want to keep for as long as possible, right? And they will feed them for as long as they can, because again, it's rationing and control. The whole military is control, right? And so I think that the thought process will be that the government will try to feed the military for as long as they can. But again, if you think that they're going to get some 5-star service, you're not, okay? We've never gotten 5-star service. You have literal service members who are starving and don't make enough money to put, food on the table and pay their bills. So, that's still possible that you're still going to see struggle and strife within the military. But I think as a whole, the government will try to continue to feed a military because that is important to them, okay? To their protection, for wars, for other enemies, all of this stuff, okay? I think expectation of civilians, of a huge part of the population, expectation will kill millions, right? Because you will have millions and millions sit back and say, the government's going to come and save us. The government is coming. The government's going to feed me. They're going to take care of me. They're going to handle this. Look, they have rationing systems. They're going to handle this. And so in the meantime, while people are not paying attention and figuring it out, that they're dying. They're dying of starvation. They're dying of exposure. They're dying off because they're sitting and waiting for the fix. They're waiting for somebody to save the day, to help them, okay? And I think that that's a mistake because they are going to die while they wait, okay? I think that the use of the greater good will be thrown around pretty loosely, and that any type of control measures will be revolving around food and the greater good. What is best for the greater good, to enact different policies and enact different stuff, bills and legislature and all this stuff, changes that they want that will benefit them and feed into the whole agenda of the different changes that they want to do. All of that will help that, okay? And I think it's sad because that will be the thing that they will say is, well, we're doing this, we're making these changes because it's for the greater good, okay? We're going to cut off this city that's not paying attention, this little town that's not paying attention and trying to be self-sufficient. How dare them? We're going to just cut off that whole area because it's for the greater good. We're just going to now ignore that group because they're not doing anything. They don't need us. They're not following the rules. They're not doing what we're telling them to do. So we're just gonna, for the greater good, we're not gonna even pay attention to them. We're gonna cut them off completely. And then this is a scary thought that I've talked about in previous videos is we get to a point where they come and they take yours. They take your land. They take your animals. They take your freedom sticks, your freedom seeds, your food, your water, your supplies, your fuels, basically all the stuff that you've used over the years, that you've collected, that you've stockpiled, to be self-sufficient, to not get to the point where you have to depend on the government. I think that those people are in danger, okay? And they will have a mark on their back to take what they have, because how dare you live on a homestead and grow your own food and, raise your own animals and have a garden and be self-sufficient? How dare you not have to use a rationing system and do everything I tell you to do, okay? What do you mean you don't need the system, right? How are you surviving, right? Those that have the food are going to control the people, okay? They're going to control the masses. What can you do, right? Tips. How do you get ahead of something like this? It's super heavy. This isn't something that happens tomorrow. This is something that happens over the next, decades, okay? Years and years and years and years. But the way we're going, this is where it goes to, guys. This is where we get to, okay? So some stuff you do, you stack it, you stockpile it, right? You continue to do the things. You continue to preserve food, get stuff preserved, shelf-stable foods. You get your water, you get your supplies. Overall, you do not forget preparedness, and you keep plugging ahead of that. You grow it, you hide it. You grow it, you stack it, and then you hide stuff. You hide supplies. Have your basic stuff that's out, but get into the mindset over the next few years. I'd say the next 5 years, you need to be thinking long term. How do I hide the stuff that I have? Not all of it, okay? Because if you get somebody who comes in, a government, to clean out everybody's pantries or whatever, you're going to need stuff that they're going to take so that they're satisfied that they've taken from you. They've taken all your stuff. But you need to think now, while you can get the things, you can buy things, you can buy hidden things, you can buy things to assist you to hiding your preps, your foods, okay? How do you successfully hide stuff, okay? And you can prepare for this. This is something that right now you can slowly start thinking about. I know it's heavy, and that's why I said this video is definitely not for new preppers, because they're just poof, right? But it's something that I promise that I know that a large part of this group does think about and is concerned about, and does think about how do you get ahead of that one day to protect the things that you have gotten, that you've collected, that you've done, the hard work that you've done. How dare somebody just come in and wipe you out, okay? Somebody mentioned on a comment below, who cares, because, the government's going to come, and why tell people to raise food and raise animals and get land or whatever? Why are you telling people to do this when the government is just going to come in and take all those animals? Baby, yes, they might. I'm not saying that they won't. I think that that is a valuable note, right? That is something that you have to know, that if I think I'm going to get some kind of rabbits and chickens and all this stuff, and at some point the government, the way we are going with meat and how we care so much about animals and meat all of a sudden, I know that one day they're coming to take this. But why would that stop you from utilizing those resources now, right? Having those meat animals now, processing them, okay, preserving them. What would stop you to having chickens and preserving all those eggs, okay? Why would you stop an opportunity right now today to preserve food and to put food back so that you have it and it's hidden and you have that for in the future, okay? This is what we're talking about. This is in the future. This isn't tomorrow, okay? And this definitely isn't to scare somebody, okay? Another thing we should start doing, another tip that you do now today, is you start teaching your children grit and survivability and self-sustaining attributes, right? Teach them how to preserve food. Teach them how to dehydrate, to pressure can. Teach them how to put away food. Teach them, hey, have a little conversation. Where would you hide food if you had to hide food? These are conversations that you have to have with children. And that's a whole other topic. Some people would not agree, let children be children. Listen, my children are children. Trust me, okay? And they're probably just like your children, okay? But we bring them into conversations, a lot of conversations, so that they know what is going on, okay? They understand the importance of preservation of food and preserving and supplies and being self-sufficient and not depending on other people, Okay. So teach your children the basics. Teach your children how to light a fire. You know, how to make a shelter, make a fun fort shelter in the back. Teach them financial stability. Teach them the things that we wish we were taught. People used to be taught these things. They had an importance, but there's certain things that we have gotten away from that we don't do. Teach your children to cook. You know how many kids don't know how to cook these days? And when I say kids, now I'm talking about older kids, college kids, don't know how to cook, can't cook for themselves, don't know how to do laundry. Are you kidding me? That's what we need to get back to, the basics of how to run a home and how to survive off of what you have grown with your own two hands, things that you've built with your own two hands, right? That's what we need to get back to. And that's what we're missing. And when the days like this, these dark days in the future come, the more that we prepare with these other things, that won't be so crazy. Okay. It will be easier to handle when days like this hit us. Okay. So I know this was heavy. I'm really interested to see the comments today. I know I might get some crazy comments. I'm not sure, but I'm open to the dialogue and to discussing your guys' thoughts on this topic. Okay. And again, if you're a new prepper, don't freak out. You know, you don't even need to comment. You don't even need to watch this video or listen to the comments if it's too much for you, especially if it's causing you anxiety. Don't do it. This is just my thought process because there's a lot that happens up here and I'm just sharing that with you. Okay. So you guys have a blessed day and I'll see you guys tomorrow on the next video.